thank everybody who was involved with the Rotary Christmas boxes, the toy box appeal, which went extremely well despite it being the first year. I'd like to thank very much our partner charity, Kids in Mind, for steering us through that, putting a huge amount of energy and all the practical sides of the toy boxes. All the clubs who were involved, all the volunteers who were involved. In very short time, we raised well over £70,000 and delivered well over 3,200 toy boxes to refugees all over the country. So well done, everybody, and thank you. And of course, it is a sister project to the Children's Fun Day, which we're launching tonight. As I said, I'm the Rotary Great Britain Island team lead for the Fun Day. This follows on the many years' experience of working with kids out on the day out, and the people involved in the Fun Day have got a huge amount of experience. I'd like particularly to thank in advance the district advisors, the team who worked with Steve Cartwright to get the message out to clubs and districts. With the Toy Box Appeal, that relationship worked extremely well. We get a huge amount of support from the support centre at Rotary Great Britain Island with their messaging and their social media. But it is really the personal relationships you district advisors have in your districts with clubs and the district team that I think ties down the deal. And we thank you for all the work you do. And we are always interested to hear your views on how you think things should be organised. So the first Rotary Children's Fun Day, 2025, 11th of June is the day that we're hanging it on. That's when all the publicity and the press events will be aimed at as being one of the biggest single days out for children all over the country. How do you get involved? What does this launch event mean? What's the boring administrative process as well as the exciting delivery process? All those questions will be answered now by the person who's taken on all of the liaison and the practical organisation, Steve Cartwright. So I'd like to thank him in advance and hand over to you, Steve, to officially launch all the details of the Children's Fun Day.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Yeah, just to reiterate my thanks for all of you taking the time out to attend this evening. I know this is a mixture of, dare I say, experienced Rotarians involved with the days out over the years, together with hopefully a good sprinkling of those fresh and sprightly Rotarians who actually want to get involved and increase the opportunity for the children to have a great day out. Just to reiterate the fact that we were raised around about £80,000 towards the Rotary Christmas Toy Box for last Christmas 2024, and yes, we shall be doing the same thing again for Christmas later this year 2025. Information for that will go out after July of this year. So, and Dorothy has held that together amiably. A fantastic effort all round. So yes, so that's Rotary Christmas Toy Boxes again at the end of this year, and time flies when you're enjoying yourself. Anyway, if we can move on. Yeah, I'm Steve Cartwright. As has already been mentioned, I do my level best to try and hold this thing together, having been involved with the Days Out events for the best part of 15 years. So I've got some experience. I don't know, I'm trying to think I've got quite a few answers, but there's always a few answers that come left field from time to time. But we'll do our level best to help you out. And yes, Steve has already mentioned that out of the 24 districts, we have 22 of those districts already have what we call a Rotary Children's Fun Day advisor, somebody who's local within your district that you can call upon, speak to, ask questions of, get their assistance should you want to have help, and to encourage you to get involved in organising, arranging and facilitating a Rotary Children's Fun Day. So that's the details of your district advisors will be put on the website in the next few weeks or so. Meanwhile, we do have a generic email address, and I'll cover that as we go further on. So let's just talk about a Rotary Children's Fun Day event. What is the aim? Well, effectively, the aim of the Fun Day is to give the opportunity to those children less privileged, from a, dare I say, an unfortunate background with a disability, who ordinarily wouldn't get the opportunity to have a day out. That's as much broad as it is long. It's a case of, and I hate the word qualifying, but I think we need to work out and just specify the type of children we're trying to help here. As Rotarians, we're trying to give an opportunity to children which, through mental and or physical disability, family and or monetary circumstances, would not normally be able to enjoy experiences which most of us take for granted. A bit of a wordy paragraph there, I'm sorry, but I think that encapsulates what it's all about. And this also includes young carers groups. So stupid things like we've dealt with one school where they had a day out and it was shopping, and you think, hang on, what do you mean shopping? Everybody goes shopping. Well, for these particular special needs children, having some money in their hand, going to buy something at a shop, to buy a ticket on the tram to get to the shop, that was their day out. I think that puts it in perspective as to what we talk about here. Giving these kids the opportunity which they wouldn't ordinarily experience, and thereby hangs the time scale. It can be anything from a couple of hours to all day. So we, as the Rotary clubs in GB&I, are looking to encourage as many of these children as we can. Last year, 2024, it was just over 27,000 children enjoyed a day out. That's over 27,000, a fantastic effort. This year, 2025, we're looking to probably approach 30,000. Yes, I did say 30,000. Now let's think about this. That sounds a lot. It is. We're Rotary. We know we can do it. But we know from statistics there are at least 3 times that amount of children in the UK who could benefit from a day out. So in other words, we have a target market of around about 90,000 kids. So how can we move this forward? Rotary Children's Fun Day. We are looking to, first and foremost, as Rotarians and Rotary clubs, we look to approach the schools. Generally speaking, yes, special needs schools is obviously a topic whereby generally if a child is from a special needs school, they automatically qualify for us to attend a Rotary Children's Fun Day. But equally, there are students that are involved in mainstream schools as well. So they can be a little more difficult to find, but nevertheless, at each school that you can deal with in your community, you all have them, will be the Special Educational Needs Coordinator, or SENCO for short. They're, by virtue of their job role and title, they're responsible to look after those children who we in Rotary would like to invite and get along to a Rotary Children's Fun Day. So that will be a major port of call. We in Rotary, we aren't in a position to say who can qualify and who doesn't qualify to come on one of our days out. That is entirely and utterly down to the professionals. We are reliant entirely upon them saying yay or nay. We are not qualified to make such a call. So we're aiming for the 11th of June. The reason why we're aiming for the day out on the 11th of June is because it's a nice day of the year. The sun always shines, it's towards the end of the school term generally, and therefore school curriculum tends to be a bit more relaxed, and they generally allow the students and the children to have a little bit more of a fun time. The 11th of June, yes, we'd like all children to go out on the 11th of June, but we know from a practical point of view and a cost point of view, the schools have got things on, the venues that we identify maybe can't fit it in on the 11th of June, and maybe it's too expensive. So therefore, there is a flexibility there. So we'd like it to be held in the month of June as an example, but occasionally, sometimes that date could float out either side of June. Now, if that should happen, then really, if it's not going to be held in June, then I really need to know so we can look at the figures, because we are aiming at about 30,000 children and we have funding for 30,000 children. And we need to make sure that we don't overstep the mark or run out of money. I'm not going to say that's going to happen, but we need to be aware of how things are going. And if more money is needed to support the event, then we need to know about that in advance. You, as a Rotarian, as your club, you've never done it before. So how can you get help? Well, first and foremost, I mentioned already, you've got a district Rotary Children's Fund Day advisor. They have a wealth of experience in helping clubs, and they are part of a national team of 25 Rotary Children's Fund Day advisors. So between us, the team, we can help you, help your club. Not only that, you've also got your neighbouring clubs as well. It doesn't have to be a large event that the district organised. It doesn't even have to be something that your club can organise. It may be you can hopefully go in partnership with your neighbouring clubs. In doing so, that means you can increase the amount of children having a great day out. Don't forget, as I say, it includes young carers groups as well. Types of events that we talk about, yeah, trips to farms, theme parks, theatres, cinemas, sporting events, even in-school events. The criteria is giving these children an opportunity to experience something they wouldn't already have the opportunity to do so. So that may occur in school, for instance, by having special theatre productions or something like that. What's in it for the club? Effectively, by registering your event or getting involved with a Rotary Children's Fund Day, it's effectively, you will be able to register, and we'll go through the registration shortly. You will get, as a thank you from Rotary GBNI, and as a thank you from the Kids in Mind who are supporting us on this one charity, we'll get a £5 subsidy per child for getting these children and getting involved. So if your club can identify 20 children for a day out, then you will get 20 times £5. That's a £100 directly to your club, payable by Rotary GBNI. All you need to do is obviously register to claim that particular money. And we'll go through the registration form in a minute. Please, there is a wealth of experience, not only from the advisors that I've mentioned already, but also from within your own district. And you may know some neighbouring clubs or clubs in your district that are already involved with this. And bearing in mind, these Fund Day events have been ongoing now for over 30 years. Yes, I said over 30 years. So it's not something brilliantly new. Okay? Those who've been involved in the past, you know full well names have changed. Effectively, yes, it is now the Rotary Children's Fund Day. It is an official Rotary programme sitting alongside Ryla, Interact, and so on, and all the other youth competitions. So it is officially a Rotary event. Therefore, you get the support from Rotary GBNI. So the name's there, Rotary Children's Fund Day. It does what it says on the can. We are very thankful for the Kids in Mind charity for enabling us, supporting us with some funding to the tune of £5 per child. Well, you will be registering, when you register your Rotary Children's Fund Day event, you will get the money from Rotary GBNI. It's Rotary GBNI that will pay your club via backs that will pay you for the event, pay you for the subsidy of £5 per child. Let's see, where are we on the notes here now? Yes, I've mentioned the fact that the 11th of June is a target date, because that's generally the second Wednesday in June, a good date all round. If it, as I say, just to reiterate, if you identify a location, a farm, whatever it may be, a cinema, a theatre production, whatever it may be, and it, for whatever reason, can't be on the 11th of June, then let's talk about it. If it's within June, doesn't cause a problem. If it's going to float out either side of June, then we really do need to talk about it. I need to know, we need to know, to make sure we've still got the funding available across the board here. So where are we going to now? Let's have a look at how we get involved with registering the event. Okay, the registering the event is all done via the Rotary GBNI website, and I'm assuming you're all well accustomed to this. As you can see, thank you, rotarygbni.org. All right, you'll need to register into the members area. So you'll need to use your members login. You will not get this information unless you have got a members login. And thank you, Janine is now typing away furiously. Okay, that's the password, that's wrong. Right. So therefore, you log into the Rotary GBNI website. You click on, it then brings up the page here. You need to look, you're into the members area. You go to the youth zone at the top of the page, then go over to the bottom left under programs, Rotary Children's Fun Day. You click on that. And here we go. Right, so here we go. You've got the right page here. You can read all the blurb. It tells you what the Rotary Children's Fun Day. Tell us about your plans so we can measure. You then click on, as you go forward, to register your club's fun day. Please, 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 and please again, make sure you read through all of this. I know it's boring stuff, but you don't believe how many mistakes can be made at this early stage. You need to read it through. There will be an audit survey 2 weeks after the event. In other words, when you've registered your event and it's taken place 2 weeks after, you will be getting a survey form from Rotary GBNI, all part of being a registered charity now. So you go down the form, then you look, obviously you need to click on the privacy statement. As you can see there, thank you, Janine, keep it going. So you then go down, read the privacy, and you have to click, if you don't click yes, you don't go any further. So you click yes, the privacy statement. Okay, this opens up the form. It couldn't be simpler, really, providing you do know the district. So you click on the district that it's yours. You then put in your club name. That's your club name. You've got lead. Okay, well, Janine's doing a great job here, a bit quicker with the old typing than I am. Therefore, you've got, as you can see there, fairly self-explanatory. First name, last name, contact email. Notice the red asterisk. These are important details. You fail to put these details in, it won't go. It'll refer you back up the form again. So, okay. So then obviously onto the phone number. Now, number of clubs involved. Now, it may only just be your one club, or you could be a part of the group. Therefore, as Janine's putting in here, there's 4 clubs. You've got, okay, whatever it happens to be. Okay, so you put the 4. And then, of course, are there other organisations involved? Yes or no? If you go yes, you can put in whatever, whichever interactor or otherwise. Okay. Right, and then moving on now to the Rotary Children's Fun Day venue. All right, so you need to put in whatever it happens to be. Blah, 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 blah. And this could be anywhere. This is the location that you're involved with or have organised. You put that in. The date of the event, there's an automatic calendar that you can pick up on. So you haven't got to type it all in. You just click on the day and it comes up automatically. You then go down there. It says, okay, you will receive £5 per child. You need to put the number of children. Okay. And then, of course, you want, and of course, I dare say you probably want paying. So please make sure you've got the right bank account, your club bank account, not your own personal. It has to be a club bank account and your club bank account sort code. You can't believe how often that gets wrong. All right. Then you've got a number of schools, groups, outside agencies involved. Maybe it's just one school. It could be 4 or otherwise. You've just got to put the brief description down, the names of the schools. That's all. There we go. Now, stopping at this point, please read the last note. Please note, you will receive confirmation email once this form is submitted. Please ensure you read through this confirmation email to check all details are correct. Please check your spam junk folder if you do not receive it soon after submitting the form. The point here is, once you press the submit button down there, you will get, unless you get the message on the screen to say, I'm sorry, you've got it wrong, you've got to go back up the screen. If you press submit, you will get a receipt. And that receipt is more than likely to go into your spam or junk folder. Please make sure you pick up on that and retain that in the event of a query going forward. Thanks for that, Janine. That's good. On there, what else have we got here, really? Right, yeah, sorry. So having registered your event in plenty of time, I mean, the sooner I know numbers can be an issue from schools. That's a given, really. But it's £5 per child. So you speak with the school and they say, yeah, great, we've got 50. So you register your event based on 50. Should that Then the school comes back to you later on. Oh, we've got another 10. So if you originally registered 50 children, but you know there's going to be another 10, then you'll need to make sure you register again for the additional 10. You need to register for the additional numbers, again getting the receipt, and you'll receive your subsidy of £5 per child 4 weeks before the date of your event. So you'll receive the subsidy of £5 per child 4 weeks before your event takes place. And then 2 weeks after the event, you'll then get a survey form which you need to complete, such that if it is that your event you may have scheduled on 60 children, but only 48 actually could take part, then you will be expected to return the 12 times £5 back to Rotary GBNI. That's only fair.
Steve, there's a few things coming up on the chat. Do you want me to go through those while you're looking?
Yeah.
They're all. First of all, just to confirm in the chat that we will be circulating the details of district advisors, as Janine has said on the chat. They will be available on the website, and your district advisors in the districts that have an advisor, which is most of them, will make themselves known at district level. Steve, who are the two districts that don't have a district advisor?
The district of one is 1160, which is All Ireland, and the other one is 1285, which is Manchester area.
So our colleague in Ireland, I'm sorry, it's gone up the list, so I can't remember your name. You got the answer. We are working with colleagues in Ireland. Traditionally this program was UK only because of the charitable funding, but we are working hard with your district to make it a Great Britain and Ireland event. There are some activities that are taking place in Northern Ireland, and we are wanting to spread it out across the whole of Rotary Great Britain and Ireland. So that's the advisors. Somebody's asked about DBS checks.
Okay.
The answer to Arnold, who asked the question, is that each local event is the responsibility of the Rotary Club and the partner agencies, and you will be expected to make sure that all that risk management and DBS arrangements are in order with your partners locally. We will, of course, at Rotary Great Britain and Ireland give any advice and support that you might need with that, but each event is your own responsibility. Steve?
Yeah, if it's got to the point where you need to have a DBS check, we really need to have a close look at that, because generally contact with regard to the children we leave entirely in the hands of the professionals. But having said that, there are times that we do have contact with children. We're prepared to talk about that, but we try and, engineer out the need for any DBS checks.
But you've got the Fun Day generic email. Steve will get straight back to you if you've got questions about DBS and risk management, because it is clearly something that our partner agencies are always very worried about. Steve's been through the payments, and if there were any questions about payments, we'll deal with it at the end of Steve's presentation and before I ask Gordon from Kids in Mind to speak. Richard's asked, what insurance do we need to take care of? Steve, how does that work?
Well, bearing in mind the insurance is all down to the interested parties involved, we're only facilitating the event. In other words, we're bringing things together. So we would make contact with the school would have their insurances. They would liaise with the various interested parties, i.e. maybe the transport companies if they incorporate it, but the school will have that. And then, of course, the event, they need to liaise with the event organisers as well, who own the event, the theme park, the theatres and so on. So the club really need to make sure that they have all got everything in place on that score. Okay, the only time we get involved in relation to looking at what's the word I'm looking for? Come on, lost my thread. Is really any risk assessments. We need to see where, as Rotarians, as Rotary clubs, we are at risk and try and engineer those out as best we can. That is normally done while really speaking to those all interested parties with the event.
And if each one is slightly different, please ask us and we'll give you an
Yeah,
answer.
yeah.
Janine has pointed out that it's not necessarily a school you're working with, and exactly the same applies if it's a community group, another charity, young carers group.
Young carers particularly, yeah.
The risk management is a partnership with Rotary and the Rotary indemnity, as well as the local organisations. And you will all know how to deal with that from your Rotary activities. But the support centre is there to help you in any way that you might need. Steve, have you caught up with your notes?
Yeah, I mean, just to reiterate, really, I know a lot of people on today have been involved with this before, but certainly, so if you were starting out from scratch, well, Steve, we're interested. It sounds like an interesting project. It's all to do with kids from a lesser background, particularly. Where do we start? Okay, you start at your local school, yeah, and work from there. So make contact with your local school. Speak again. I made reference before to the SENCO, Special Educational Needs Coordinator at the school. That's always a good starting point. Some of them, of course, even in mainstream schools, they have these as well, and talk it through. But equally, if you're starting out fresh, look in your district, speak to your district advisor. What clubs in your district are already involved or have been involved with the Fun Day events in the past, who can give you valuable experience and knowledge to help you going forward. And maybe you can also join up with one of their events rather than having to organise your very own. So
Okay.
the schools, work from there, be guided by the schools. They are the sole arbiters here. In as much as it's their children that they are dealing with. We're only facilitating, bringing it all together, the venue, ourselves with the funding, and maybe looking at some of the transport as well.
Okay, thanks, Steve. There's a couple of other points I should have said. This is because this is my fault. Everybody, sorry. I should have said I was hoping to keep this session to an hour this evening, but of course we'll keep going while there's questions coming in. Steve, thanks for that. There's a couple of other questions. Linda from Ballymena talking about Northern Ireland. What is the deadline to register, Steve?
Well, good point there, I suppose. Well, the money, I don't. Nice to think that maybe the subsidy money would run out, but I don't think it will somehow. But yes, look, we have this day. We have the date of the 11th of June as the main key day for the Rotary Children's Fund Day. That is what we aim to do. Equally, we've got the Rotary year that ends on the 30th of June. So it's nice to try and keep it within the current Rotary year. And therefore, the more notice we've got or you've got to play with in planning it, the better it is all round. So the deadline date, really, if you're going to say, well, Steve, we're having something next week, can we get a subsidy? Then I think we're going to be struggling somewhat.
We have got agreed funding for 30,000 children,
Yeah.
so I would urge everybody to get your bids in early.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
Sally, you've asked about more than one grant. I mean, basically, yes, if you're working with more than one school or community group or whatever, it's the number of children. It's not the number of agencies. As you can see on the form, that you can work either on your own as a club or on your own as a district or as a group of clubs or as a group of districts, and you can work with one school, one organisation, or many. The form allows you for that, and it's the number of children. The only thing I would say, though, if you're working with multiple clubs or indeed districts, that we only want to pay to one bank account because it'll be a nightmare to start separating. So one of them will have to take a lead on the finances. Arnold, Arnold who asked the question about DBS. Are Rotarians physically involved on the day, or do we simply facilitate an event? It's both. It's either or both. The project is yours, Arnold. We celebrate the diversity of Rotary. How you set it up is entirely up to you. If you want to be a funding agency and allow a school to go off or a community group to go off and do their own thing without Rotary involved, that's fine. Many or most of the projects do involve Rotarians in some way or other. You also ask Arnold about, is it all SEN? It's not. It's disadvantage of any nature defined by you. And Steve actually started with that, and I'm reiterating it. I'm not here to identify what disadvantage means, and you will understand that amongst the young people that you work with in your area. And again, we celebrate the diversity of that. Our partner agency, Kids in Mind, is, and I will be bringing their chair, Gordon Moulds, in any second now, but that they are particularly focused on working with young people living in refuge who've experienced domestic abuse or the results of domestic abuse. And so, of course, that is not necessarily SEND children, but they are disadvantaged by the experience of their lives. And so that's the particular focus of Kids in Mind. But in the context of supporting this program, they again, I imagine Gordon would agree, would allow Rotary clubs to define what disadvantage means. Steve, as ever, thank you very much for your enthusiasm, your detail, your desire to make sure everybody's got all the information. Please, everybody listening, if you've got any inquiries, Steve will be more than happy to engage with you at length. You use the Fun Day email, and if for any reason there's glitches in the system, it also comes through to Janine, myself, and the team at the support centre. So we'll make sure that you get responses. May I now move on, Steve? Can I move on now because of time? Is that okay, or did you want to say something, Steve?
Somebody just pleading on the chat about somebody wants an answer to their question. I don't know which one it was because I haven't been really reading it all.
Oh, sorry. What? Hang on. Where's Mary? Where's her question? Sorry, I missed it.
Please have an answer. I don't know. I'm not quite sure what the question
is. My local specialist was asking. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Can the fun? Yes, of course. The fun day can be. Yes, of course, Mary. The fun day doesn't have to be a trip out. It can be staying in for a party. It can be a part. Of course, it can. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mary. I missed that one. Yeah. Yes, of course. A fun day is a fun day. It doesn't say where or how it has to be.
As I mentioned, it could be in school, particularly. Yeah, we've had some real good things in schools. There are theatre companies visit schools and various sports, football teams, cricket teams, and the like. Netball teams have actually come into the school and I've had a day playing netball.
Okay, brilliant.
So on. So yes,
Steve, I'm moving it on now, mate. Okay, as I say, it's been a pleasure to meet Gordon, although we've only done it through the magic of Zoom so far. One day we'll meet in person. Gordon and Kids in Mind are our sponsoring agency. As I say, they took on an enormous load and practical role with the toy boxes, and we thank them again for that and congratulate them on the success of it. Gordon, we are in awe of you and the way you work, and thank you for helping us get this off the ground. And I'll hand over to you now, Gordon from Kids in Mind.
Thank you very much. You covered it nicely, Steve. What Kids in Mind is, our focus is doing well-being and mental health services into children who escaped serious domestic violence and found refuge in a women's refuge. However, what I would like to do is go back to Toy Box just quickly to point out a couple of things. One is there was a record amount of toy boxes ordered and paid for from Rotary clubs this year. And that, for me, shows the strength of bringing this initiative in-house. And I believe the Rotary Children's Fund Day will be the same. It's a great way to increase the numbers. The other thing I'd like to acknowledge is Barbara and others are online. A thank you to them because it was Rotarians that came and packed 1,500 of the toy boxes that we sent out. Hasbro kindly did 2,000 for us. Well, thank you to the Rotarians that came and did that. Next year, we are going to look at having toy box packing going on in different parts of the country to get other Rotarians involved, because we've been asked that a few times. So we will be looking to do that. So thank you for everyone for that support. Turning to the Fun Day, Steve has said it all really, except I genuinely believe with it coming in-house to Rotary and with the advisors who've done a phenomenal job with the toy box and will do a phenomenal job again with the day out, that 30,000 will get exceeded very quickly in years to come. And therefore more money is needed. And what I'd like is if anyone's got any family member that works for a company that'd like to help sponsor and partner Kids in Mind to fund this. It's not to save Kids in Mind any money. We've pledged £150,000 each year. But if we can get £5 to £10 would be great. But if you go to 40,000 children, we would like a partner to help us. So that's a plea there. And the last plea is, why do we want to partner Rotary, apart from I'm a Rotarian? Quite simply, we've already got Rotarians now going into refuge to provide, in one case, doing yoga for us, other two cases doing art. So we're looking at Rotarians in the areas where we're in refuge to come along and help us deliver well-being and help us to give a weekly, something that the child wants to engage in. It's key for their mental health and their well-being. I won't go into any more detail than that, but thank you to Rotary. Great partnership as far as I'm concerned, and that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you, Gordon. He alluded to it there. I should just speak to my Northeast colleagues for a second. Norman and Kevin, I know you're here. I rather stupidly said that we wanted a distribution centre in the Northeast, so I'm recruiting for volunteers already. But no, Kids in Mind is a wonderful, relatively new charity, and we look forward to working with you through the years, Gordon, and to support your development and all your ambitions. Thank you very much indeed. Final contributor tonight is she's not just the worker of Zoom and housekeeping rules. She's actually my boss. She's the SAT or Special Advisor Team lead for Rotary Great Britain Ireland for the whole of humanitarian service. She's one of the hardest working people I know in the Rotary volunteer section, and she keeps us all right. She does an enormous amount of the admin for this fun day, and I thank her almost every day for the amount of work she does. So Janine Birtwistle, would you like to finish with the formal presentations before we answer more questions?
Thanks very much, Steve. Thanks to everybody that's here. The whole point about Rotary is making a difference, and I absolutely celebrate what we do with young people through Rotary Children's Fun Day, through the Rotary Christmas toy boxes. It is something that is so needed. Many clubs do their own thing in a different way. There's no dictating from us that this is what you must do. However, what an amazing story to tell when Rotary across these islands actually can give 30,000 or more children an amazing day out. The or more, if you know other organisations that might be interested in working with us, so that instead of a £5 subsidy, it might be a £10 subsidy, or it might be anything else. Both Kids in Mind and Rotary Great Britain and Ireland are very happy to talk to others, and even if it's for a specific thing. So it's very much needed. The team is all here to work, although in relation to the Fun Day, your key liaison is Steve Cartwright through the funday@rotarygbi.org email, as it was for Dorothy in the context of Rotary Christmas toy boxes. It is now a Rotary GBI initiative. It's part of the work of the humanitarian service team. We do have teams in place for some of those big initiatives like this one, and it is a team approach. So very much that if somebody doesn't know the answer, we know somebody that will. But we absolutely need all of you to be part of this. We need you to work with your district advisors. It's a learning process for us all. You know, we've brought it in-house for the first time with the toy boxes that have just happened. This will be our first in-house Rotary Children's Fun Day. We'll make mistakes. Please be kind. We're all volunteers. Let's just be nice to each other and work out what the challenges are and how, by working collaboratively, we can overcome them. Work with your public image people. Work with your membership people, your direct members, corporate members. Get them involved in things like this, in activities like this. The organisations that you work with, it's a great opportunity to tell them a bit more about Rotary and see how else that they can get involved. So please, it's not just a one-off. in a box and that's it. End of story. Tick, I've done that. I'm not going to do anything else. Involve others. We've got an amazing story to tell. And what really, really helps is if you actually tell people what you're doing. And obviously for this one, you have to, because if you want the £5 subsidy, you need to register your event. So at least we'll get to know about those. But it's not just telling us you're going to do that event on this day there. Please give us some information about it afterwards as well. We'd all love to hear about that. The Rotary Service Facebook group, please think about joining that. Share on there what you're doing. Any of your service projects, we'd love those to be on there. And don't also forget that there is the Rotary International now. We've got a service project centre where you can put all of your service projects, and not necessarily on this one. Well, actually, some of you might be looking for volunteers to help you. I mean, I know in my own district for many years, there was an army of people that were making sandwiches for the day, for the fun day for the children. And we needed more volunteers for that. There is the impact portal. And if you don't know what that is, please talk to your district community leads, vocational, international, contact me and I'll put you in touch with the humanitarian service team member that can explain more about it. But these are great opportunities to get others outside of Rotary involved with working with you as well. I'm going to stop there, Steve, because I'd like, if there is more time for questions, we have said that we would do an hour. There's another 15 minutes to go. So if anybody has got any other questions, then please, let's have those questions, but we won't keep you if we don't need to.
Thank you, Janine. And again, thank you for your work and your enthusiasm and your encouragement. David from Cardiff Bay, just to reiterate about our definition, disadvantaged kids. I mean, it's up to you to define that. And as Steve has said, disadvantaged children and young carers. However, I'm aware of working with organisations that have mixed groups of young people with disabilities with able-bodied children working and playing together. And of course, we would encourage that kind of organisations. And we're not going to say that child gets a subsidy and that one doesn't. So if it's that kind of mixed organisation, integrated organisation that you're working with, happy days that all the children go, because that integration is what society should be about. I think we'd all agree. But it's up to you as a club to define how you regard disadvantage in your local area for those children. Right. If can you apply for more than one? Oh, hang on, we've had that.
Yeah, no, and Doug is asking about where does the funding come from?
And Anne has already gone. Where does the funding come from? It comes from Gordon's back pocket. No, Gordon, would you like to? Gordon?
It comes from Kids in Mind. We're a charity. We run major events. We do marathons, half marathons. We've got an event every month that we raise money on. And we've also got a major sponsor for this particular event that's given us £100,000 towards it. So that made it easy for us to find the other 50. As we're a new charity, we'll be raising money. And any profit we make from the toy boxes, although we haven't this year, but in future years we will, that money will go straight back to Rotary. Hope that answers it.
And of course, we're well aware that a £5 per head subsidy is nowhere near the full cost. So the actual cost is coming from the Rotary clubs themselves and the schools and the groups paying for whatever activity it is. So, you know, this is a contribution, not the full amount.
And it's a small one. Can I just say one other thing
about
what you were speaking before? When you go to a school, you can't go in and say, I'll take those 10 children out the class. So you take the whole class out is the better way to do it. And don't try and just take disadvantaged children. There will be some that's not. It's just worth mentioning that. Yeah.
Patricia, you make the point that we haven't been exhaustive in the list. Of course, bereaved children would qualify, of course. And we know the list isn't exhaustive of what we've talked about tonight. Mary, if you have local sponsors, yes, of course, include them on your T-shirts, posters, whatever. Of course, acknowledge them, but don't put kids out. Put kids in mind, please. But apart from that, yes, of course, if your local car dealer wants to put some money in, yes, include their name and everything. That's right. And Doug, I hope we've answered your question about who pays. You as a
No,
Rotary Club.
no, Steve, I
What?
don't know if it has really. I think there is a £5 subsidy from Kids in Mind, but it's up to you to organise and fund the activity, knowing that you can get a £5 subsidy if you're one of the first lots of 30,000 children that's going to get the
And I
money
know
supported.
yeah, I thought I said that, but the schools themselves will often make contributions towards it as well if you're working with a school. Okay, there's no more questions. If you want to raise your hand electronically, that's because there's nearly 80 people here. Thanks, Doug, for your response. Thank you. Are there any other hands raised anywhere? Would any of the district, right, Barbara, who I was just going to say, would any of the district advisors like to speak? And Barbara is a district advisor. So Barbara, over to you.
Yeah, sorry, I've been asked by a few clubs about the merchandising side of things. So I just wondered what plans there were, or if someone already has something organised, whether they can share what they're doing as to whether other clubs can take advantage. That's all.
T-shirts and hats and things.
Yeah.
You mean like yeah, Steve?
Yeah, okay. What we're saying is the artwork is readily available on the Rotary Children's Fun Day page of the website. So you can get the artwork there and take that out to your local suppliers. I do know that, well, I don't want to put Kevin Mack in the frame, but I know Kevin Mack, particularly an advisor from 1145, he has contacts for suitable Rotary Children's Fun Day T-shirts, polo shirts, and hats. I mean, I happen to have a sweatshirt on. Get me anyway, and a hat, which are available. But that will be at the behest really of the club as to whether they want to pay for those for themselves. There is no subsidy for that. Although I am asking at the moment for subsidy sponsors for.
No, Steve. The answer's no.
Oh, well, shut up then. All right, so there isn't any money left for any pull-ups, people. But so look, locally, the artwork's available on the website. Go to your suppliers and ask them what they can do and to suit yourselves, and they'll give you a price accordingly.
But it is an issue that we know going forward.
Yes.
Having merchandise and branding is important, but as this is the first year, please bear with us. Alison from Southgate.
Hello, sorry,
Hi.
I need my son to turn the telly down. I actually work in a primary school. So yes, it's a great initiative that we do. The issue that I have in our school in particular is we don't have the staff to accompany on like the last Kids in Mind event last June. We just didn't have a member of staff to go with. And also people talking about getting funding from the schools, they haven't got the budgets to supply. I mean, in actual fact, we're in North London in quite a nice affluent area of Enfield, and we've had to cancel 3 trips because our trips are funded by parents, and there's just no money in it for our budget. So I'd just be wary of that when you're approaching schools.
Yeah, Alison, we know that, but often when Rotary clubs come in with some of the funding, like, sorry, I can't. Is someone talking? Sorry, Alison. The experience is when Rotary clubs come in with some of the funding, the schools do find the means of doing it. Someone's asked about paying for DBS checks. My understanding is volunteers don't have to pay. There should be a means of, if that's an issue, a debtor, then please speak to the support centre, and they will go through how you get your DBS checks done, and there are means of doing that. Kevin Mack has confirmed the usual suppliers on board if you want to buy the caps and T-shirts, and he's given his contact information there. Any other questions? Nobody's got the hand raised on the screen. Okay, so just to finish off, some of you will be, thanks Adetta for your response. I mean, some of you will be aware that actually the form went live on the website a few days ago, because obviously we're testing it and making sure it works. And I understand, Steve, that we've already got over 1,500 children registered. Is that correct?
Yes, we have 18, something like about 1,800 children registered.
So you know, already nearly 2,000 children. Sorry?
Book now to avoid disappointment.
Yeah, exactly. So already we can say nearly 2,000 children will be enjoying the support of Rotary and Kids in Mind to have a fun day out in the summer. Thank you everyone for coming tonight. Thank you in particular to those who've made spoken contributions. Thank you to the district advisors again for all the hard work you do, and to our colleagues in the support centre. As Janine said, please bear with us if we've not quite got our organisation together, because it is the first year we've done this. But we are trying very, very hard to do one thing, and one thing only, is to give as many children across the country, disadvantaged children, the best possible fun day we can in the spirit of Rotary. And I'm sure all of you will achieve that. And we look forward to hearing and publishing the results of all your hard work. Thanks for coming tonight. Look forward to working with you, and see you soon. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.